Welcome into the high noon stream for today, Wednesday afternoon. I am Pugs Moran. I do this. Hold on. Let me get this all set up straight here for a second. Gotta get into the chat room. All right. There we go. All right, sorry about that. All right, folks, welcome in. It is the High Noon Stream. I am Pugs Moran. I do this every Monday through Friday at noon till, well, whenever we're done. Typically about 90 minutes, maybe 2 hours, sometimes a little bit more. Who knows? Depends on what's happening. This show is divided into 4 parts. The first part is the history of this day. We tell you all the things that happened on this day. We tell you all the things that occurred that made this day memorable. Then we go into some birthdays. We talk about people who were born on this day and who made contributions. I just almost totally butchered that word. People who have made significant contributions during their time on this spinning blue marble. And then we mourn some passings. We talk about the people who died on this day. And then and only then, after I feel that we have accomplished some semblance of understanding of what this day has been historically, then we talk about all the things that are trending today, the hot topics, the current events, the headlines, whatever it is that's going on in the world today. If it's happening at noon right now, this very moment, we're going to talk about it here, and I'll give you a quick little reason as to why it's trending. We'll talk about it for a second, give you a hot take. We move on. That's it. We don't spend too much time picking apart any one thing. We try to give you a nice full plate of all of the things that are happening. Here's what's happening with me. If you've been with us, I've been sick. I've had this terrible cold. Good news, bad news. I got some really good medicine yesterday. They like dropped in. I got another B12 shot, which means I feel great right now. I don't know what it is with B12 shots. They might be total bullshit, but every time I get one, it's like, even if it's just, what do they call that? Psychosomatically, I don't know, whatever. Even if it's just the suggestion that I've gotten something that has worked before and is going to make me feel better, my body just then starts to feel better. It's like, okay, this worked before, let's go with it. So I am feeling good. Still a little bit, the voice a little messed up. Still a little messed up. I know. It's I don't think it's all that terrible though. If I'm being honest, I kind of like this version of the voice. Still got the sniffles, and I will cough from time to time. But other than that, the boy's feeling good. Boy's feeling about as good as I've felt since, well, that's not true. I felt pretty good last Saturday. But that was because of the pills that I was taking, the allergy medication. And then the problem with that was that I was feeling good Saturday, but not feeling good Saturday night. I just crashed. It's like the bottom fell out on me, and then I was just like some junkie, some trucker junkie trying to find my next fix at some rest stop in Oklahoma. All right, let's get into what today is. Let's start talking about today, high noon, the 9th day of November, year of our Lord, 2022. I'll have you know that this is the 313th day of the year. There are 52 days that remain until the end of the year. 52 days, that's it. We are inside 2 months until the end of the year. So as we like to say around these parts, get those New Year's Eve plans started, because I've been saying it for about 200 days now, at least. Starting to feel like there's some hiccups coming. We know we go through this at the start of every show. I can feel it. Oh my God. All right. We're going to power through. Maybe if I don't talk quite as quickly, maybe if I choose my words and I can. No, the rhythm. See, I get these hiccups because my breathing rhythm gets disrupted, and then suddenly I'm talking and I'm not taking breaths, and I'm just blah blah blah, and then suddenly everything goes a little bit crazy. Hi, Melissa. Melissa's in the chat room. Leslie's in the chat room. April's in the chat room. Jeff's in the chat room. Jen's in the chat room. Al's in the chat room. Everybody's in the chat room. Al says maybe if you hold your breath at the beginning. Again, you guys. I appreciate on some level all of the hiccup combating advice that I get from you guys, but I know what works for me, and what works for me is inconvenient for you. What works for me is I just got to hold my breath for a period of time. And by the way, the hiccups haven't come yet. I can just feel them. Like I can feel like there's something like it's gonna at some point go, and then I'm gonna be so angry. Well, let's get into the show. Okay, let's get started. What happened on this day? As we like to do, we start out with the history of the day. There we go. God damn it! There it was. All right, I got to do that thing where I hold my breath again. That's fine. This will become a daily thing. I'll just hold my breath. Oh my God, this is the worst. All right, here we go. Okay, so I gotta hold my breath. So just bear with me, and then we'll get into the show. You know this works. Okay. Okay, that was a minute. I think I may have overreacted because I didn't hiccup once during that breath holding, so I may have already beaten him. Yeah, Will. We go through this a lot here. I get struck with hiccups at the start of just about, I would say, what, 50% of the shows? 50% of the shows, I get the hiccups, and it's the worst, and it drives me nuts, and I can't focus on the show. But I seem to have combated this round of hiccup fights. Oh God, seriously, you guys have no idea how much it bugs me. And now it's just something that sits in the back of my head. So it's like whenever I start a show, and it doesn't happen on the Pillow Talk show. If you notice with me and Parker, it doesn't happen there. Happens here when I'm just talking by myself, when it's just me going blah, 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 blah. All right, let's get into it. Let's talk about what today is, the history of today. On this day, folks, on this date in 1620, pilgrims, we're talking about 1620, pilgrims aboard the Mayflower. They sight land at Cape Cod, Massachusetts. And, credit where credit is due, they may have been like the no dancing reverend from Footloose type people, but at least they knew where they were. They know Columbus thought he was in Japan, and then he thought he was in India. At least, the people on the Mayflower, they knew where they were going. On this day in 1906, Theodore Roosevelt, Teddy Roosevelt, is the first sitting president of the United States to make an official trip outside the country. He did so to inspect progress at the Panama Canal. That's a weird one. 1906. No United States president had left the country before 1906. Now, I know like Jefferson traveled. Like, it's not to say that they didn't leave the country. But as president, no United States president, while president, had ever left the country until this day in 1906. That's weird. On this day in 1923 in Munich, police and government troops crush the Nazi beer hall Busch. This is like 1923, the early days of the Nazi. Yeah, they won. Yeah, that's celebrate, cops. You held down the Nazis in 1923. They weren't going away, because on this day in 1938. It's the anniversary of Kristallnacht. That's the night of broken glass. Isn't that what that is? This is the anniversary of the night that the Nazis in 1938 sent all the Hitler Youth and a whole bunch of like non-uniform wearing thugs into the Jewish ghettos and Jewish businesses and all that, and just started destroying everything and burning books. And oh my God, it was basically the anniversary of the night that the rest of the world went, hey, this ain't good. Not us, not in America. We didn't do that. We didn't even pay attention to it in America. We didn't even think this was an issue until much, much later, coincidentally after Pearl Harbor. No, actually, I'm not even sure about that. When did we enter the war? It was after Pearl Harbor. I think it was after Pearl Harbor. It wasn't even, Kristallnacht didn't even do it for us in 1938. Nope. On this day in 1979, this is a fun one. I know this story. On this day in 1979, during the Cold War, there was a nuclear false alarm. The NORAD computers and the alternate National Military Command Center in Fort Ritchie, Maryland, detected purported massive Soviet nuclear missile launches. That's right. On this day in 1979, all of our defenses went, they launched all their bombs. Of course, they didn't, and it was a glitch, and it was a mistake, and I'd love to see a movie that's based on this incident. Oh, wait, War Games. This is the story. This is not the story of War Games. War Games was dramatized, but this was the incident that sort of started the person writing War Games. The whole War Games story came from this. On this day in 1979, during the Cold War, a nuclear false alarm. On this day in 1985, Garry Kasparov, 22 years old, of the Soviet Union, becomes the youngest world chess champion by beating fellow Soviet Anatoly Karpov. The big Kasparov-Karpov match. That was a thing. There was a time in this world. There was a time when people knew who the best chess player in the world was. Like, that was a thing. Like, if you were the best chess player in the world, you were a celebrity. You made a lot of money. And you had your Bobby Fishers, you had your Kasparovs, you had your Boris Badenovs. I don't know, he might be a Bullwinkle villain. I don't know. But there were a whole bunch of people who were famous for being chess players. I'll tell you, the way this country has changed, I say this a lot. You go back, if you were to get in a time machine and you were to drop yourself back into Anytown, USA in 1955, you could ask any random stranger 3 questions and they could all answer perfectly. Here are the questions you would ask. In 1955, you're dropped in the middle of Anytown. Stop a guy. Say, Joe. You just stop a guy on the street back then. You could just call him Joe. Hey, say, Joe. Spare a minute, or whatever. I don't even know what the vernacular at the time was, but they talked funnier back then. So you would say to him, say, Joe. And these are the 3 questions you'd have for Joe, and Joe could answer them. Name Miss America. Oh, he could name Miss America. Name the heavyweight boxing champion of the world. They could name the heavyweight boxing champion of the world. Name the winner of the Kentucky Derby. In 1955, random Joe on the street, could tell you the winner of the Kentucky Derby. They could also tell you probably the name of a good chess player. Can't do that now. You go on the street now, 2022, you ask a random person, hey, who won the Kentucky Derby last year? They'll be like, what? I don't know. Horse racing? Who cares about that? Hey, who's Miss America? What do you mean? Miss America, Mrs. America, Miss USA, Mrs. USA, Miss Teen USA, Mrs. America? What are you talking about here? There's so many, I don't even care anymore. You couldn't answer those questions. Who's the heavyweight boxing champion of the world? Nobody knows that now. I don't know. Isn't there like 40 of them? I don't know. But in 1955, you could do that. And on this day in 1985, you could actually name 2 chess champions. Not today. On this day in 1989, during the Cold War, the fall of the Berlin Wall. East Germany opens checkpoints in the Berlin Wall, allowing its citizens to travel into West Berlin. All right, those are the events that occurred on this day. Let's talk about some people who were born on this day. First and foremost, one of my favorite, most interesting people in the world. I discovered this woman. I mean, not discovered, because I'd known who she was. I mean, I not to the extent of maybe other women in her era, but I knew she was a name, and I knew if you had said to me, first of all, happy birthday, born on this day in 1914, Hedy Lamarr. Hedy Lamarr, ladies and gentlemen. Do you guys know about Hedy Lamarr? People are blown away when they learn about Hedy Lamarr. Hedy Lamarr was an actress in Hollywood, and she was a good actress. She wasn't like C-list or D-list. She was like an A-list actress. She was like a big time and not only could she act, she was gorgeous. She was like gorgeous. She could act. She was a massive star. Maybe you know the running joke from Blazing Saddles, where Harvey Korman's character name was Hedley Lamarr, but everybody called him Hedy Lamarr. And he was like, I'm not Hedy Lamarr. It's Hedley Lamarr. Anyway, she was an actress, and she was born on this day in 1914. Now, you're probably thinking, hey, Pugs, why are you talking so much about some rando actress from the 1950s or 40s or whenever the hell it was that she was around? Because she wasn't just an actress. she was like, okay, so during the day, she was like the female Tony Stark, dude. She was like, she had like this during the day. She was an actress and she was on the cover of magazines, and everybody wanted to picture with the Hedy Lamarr and oh, she's so gorgeous, and everybody loved her. But then at night, she was working on nuclear shit. Not like she basically she invented Wi-Fi. Okay, this is an oversimplification, but all of the things that we use today, Hedy Lamarr worked up in some basement in 1948. I mean, she's just like insane. And before that, during World War II, here, let me give you a little example of this broad. And I say that with all the respect in the world because Hedy Lamarr was a broad. Imagine what she had to go through just to be taken serious in the world of science during a time when she was also Angelina Jolie. You know what I mean? It's like, what if all of a sudden Angelina Jolie is like, so I've been working in my garage. I think I've cured COVID. Like, what if Angelina Jolie had done that? That's basically what Hedy Lamarr did. Hedy Lamarr was an Austrian-born American film actress and inventor. A film star during Hollywood's golden age, Lamarr has been described as one of the greatest movie actresses of all time. One of the greatest movie actresses of all time. At the beginning of World War II, she and avant-garde composer George Antheil developed a radio guidance system for Allied torpedoes that used spread spectrum and frequency hopping technology to defeat the threat of jamming by Axis powers. Okay, so she's in a movie and she's going to the Academy Awards and everybody's talking about what a great actress she is, and then she goes home and she works on a spread spectrum and frequency hopping technology project that she's got going on in her spare time. Absolutely insane. All right, let's see. Let's go into her as an inventor. Although Lamarr had no formal training and was primarily self-taught, she tinkered in her spare time on various hobbies and ideas, which included a traffic stoplight and a tablet that would dissolve in water to create a carbonated drink. The beverage was unsuccessful. Lamarr herself said it tasted like Alka-Seltzer. During World War II, Lamarr read that radio-controlled torpedoes had been proposed. However, an enemy might be able to jam such torpedoes. When discussing this with her friend, the idea was raised that a frequency hopping signal might prevent the torpedo's radio guidance system from being tracked or jammed. Okay, she's like smoking hot in like a big time movie star, and you're like hanging out with her, and instead of talking about what she's going to wear to the next big awards ceremony, she's talking about frequency hopping and how to jam Nazi torpedoes in World War II. I can go on. Anyway, there is a really cool documentary that floats around out there. I don't even know what it's called. Actually, what is it called? Let's see here. I should give it to you because it's one of the most mind-blowing. Where is it? Does she have a legacy? Is there something that says legacy awards and tributes, filmography, radio appearances, and popular culture? Okay. Let's see. What is the movie? Anne Hathaway used Hedy Lamarr as the inspiration for her character of Catwoman in Batman. That's interesting. Let's see here. The character Agent Carter from the Marvel Universe is based on Hedy Lamarr. Look at that. Bombshell. That's what it is. Okay, so the documentary that you guys need to see is called Bombshell, the Hedy Lamarr story. Written and directed by Alexandra Dean and produced a documentary about Lamarr's career as an actress and later as an inventor. It was released in theaters in 2017, and it aired on PBS American Masters in May of 2018. If you ever get a chance to see the documentary Bombshell, the Hedy Lamarr story, see it. It's crazy. It's so fascinating because we don't know. We didn't even know about any of this stuff until 2018, just because she was some broad. She was just some broad who was just doing some things and Born on this day in 1934. I spent a little bit of time on Hedy Lamarr because I like her. I find her fascinating. On this day in 1934, Carl Sagan was born, American astronomer, astrophysicist, and cosmologist. Carl Sagan, born on this day. Died in 1996. Born on this day in 1935, died in 2020. Whoo, boy. Now, I'm too young to remember him, but I can tell you, the old heads in my baseball universe as I was coming up as a kid, they'd tell you about Big Bob Gibson. Big Bob Gibson, born on this day in 1935. Way I tell it, he was like a combination of Pedro and Clemens, all rolled into one angry mound of fireball and fury. Bob Gibson, one of the great pitchers of all time. St. Louis Cardinals. Born on this day. Born on this day in 1941, Tom Fogerty, American singer-songwriter and guitarist. He died in 1990. He's, of course, the brother of John Fogerty, the Battling Brothers of Creedence Clearwater Revival. Born on this day in 1951, Lou Ferrigno, American bodybuilder and actor. Lou Ferrigno, he's the Hulk. He was the Hulk back in the time when they needed two people to play the Hulk and David Bannister. You couldn't, or David Banner. Couldn't just have one guy. Couldn't just have, which is one of my funny things. I just always smile whenever I see the Mark Ruffalo Hulk character, because the Hulk in all of his like distorted grotesqueness still looks like Mark Ruffalo. It's like Mark Ruffalo's face. But I love it. I love the way they can do that with CGI. But back in my day, the Hulk was Lou Ferrigno and Banner was Bill Bixby. You know, it was two actors, and Bill Bixby turned into Lou Ferrigno. Happy birthday to you, Lou Ferrigno, born on this day in 1951. Nick Lachey. Now, we talked about Nick Lachey. Was Nick, what was he in? Is he a Backstreet Boy? Because, the Aaron Carter death, I'm not sure if, I don't know, is he a Backstreet Boy, a 98 Degree, or an NSYNCer? I don't know. Those three, I know Justin Timberlake is the only one who stands, and he was in NSYNC. That's what I know. I know Justin Timberlake was in NSYNC. That's it. That's as far as my knowledge goes. But it's Nick Lachey's birthday, born on this day in 1973. He's one of those boy banders. Also celebrating a birthday today, born on this day in 1980, Vanessa Lachey. Vanessa Lachey, Filipino-American television host and actress. Hot girl, hot guy. They're married. And I bet you when they first got together, like one of the things that like sealed the fate that they'd get married was, when's your birthday? November 9th. Oh my God, that's mine too. And they got married. And that was basically it. Because they were two hot people, and you don't really need more than just that instant physical sexual attraction, because you're really hot and they're really hot and they see you as really hot. And then something as simple as, we have the same birthday, oh my God. And they ended up getting married. Are they still married? I don't know. Who knows? But they're both celebrating birthdays today. Nick and Vanessa Lachey, married couple, born on this day. Nick in 73, Vanessa in 1980. How about some deaths? Let's mourn some passings. We get two. Okay, so on this day in 1970, Charles de Gaulle, French general and politician, the 18th president of France, ran the French government in exile from a hotel room in London after the Nazis, the Nazi war machine, overpowered the French army and rolled right into Paris. The Parisian people did not give up. They formed the resistance, which, if you know anything about the French resistance, man, you know, they were some of the most badass people ever. The French resistance, and then de Gaulle took his state, basically his war council and all that, and they were given exile in London, and they operated the French government out of a hotel room during World War II in London. Charles de Gaulle, hero of France. Charles de Gaulle Airport. Guess so we still have him there. Charles de Gaulle, dead on this day in 1970. Dead on this day in 2003, an American icon. An American icon, too, for, like, this is what's... I don't know what else he did. Like, what else did he do? Dead on this day in 2003, Art Carney. Art Carney, who played Ed Norton on The Honeymooners. It's like, I guess he did. But it's not like he had a career where he was Ed Norton, and then he was Indiana Jones, and then he was Captain Kirk. Like, Art Carney was just he's kind of like Gilligan, kind of like Bob Denver. It's like, he's Ed Norton. Now, look, I know Art Carney did some other things, but anyway, he was great. Loved Art Carney. Very funny as Ed Norton, the foil best friend, scheming partner of Ralph Cramden from The Honeymooners. Dead on this day in 2003, Art Carney. Dead on this day. Now, I only mentioned this one because I didn't want to just have two. Two deaths, and I know this name. We actually interviewed her once on the radio. So Shyla Stiles, American pornographic film actress, not an American, I'm sorry, Canadian pornographic film actress. Shyla Stiles died on this day in 1982. And I can tell you, no, I'm sorry, she was born on this day in 1982. She died on this day in 2017. I can tell you from remembering interviewing Shyla Stiles, it was like, I don't know, 11 o'clock in the morning, and she was wasted. She was wasted. There you go. That's my Shyla Stiles memory. And unfortunately, she died very young. She died at 35. She lived a hard life. Canadian pornographic actress Shyla Stiles. Dead on this day in 2021, Max Cleland, American politician, born in 1942. Max Cleland, where was he? Was he from Georgia? Wasn't that where he was from? He was like a big, let's see, he was American politician. Yeah, he was from Georgia. Max Cleland died on this day back in 2021. All right, let's get into what is happening in the world today. Let's talk about some of the trends, some of the hot topics, some of the things people are talking about. Let's see. Jeff Glenn says that Alan Hale milked the skipper way harder than Bob Denver milked Gilligan. Yeah, he did. You know why? Because, the skipper was self-actualized. Alan Hale understood that, he wasn't Spencer Tracy. He understood that he wasn't John Wayne, and that this was an opportunity, playing the skipper, to be, he ran with it. Bob Denver didn't. Bob Denver fought it. Bob Denver didn't like that he was being stereotyped as Gilligan. He's a very bitter guy. There was nothing sadder and angrier than seeing like a 70-year-old Bob Denver walking into a radio studio at 9 a.m. wearing the Gilligan outfit. And he didn't want to wear it. Just like he was not happy about being Gilligan. Bob Denver. Bob Denver is one of the dudes that I met early in my radio career where I was like, cool, I'm meeting Gilligan. And then I'm kind of like, Gilligan's not really a warm dude. Gilligan's kind of got an edge to him. I wasn't expecting that from Gilligan. You know who else had a weird edge to him? Gary Coleman. Gary Coleman had a weird edge to him where like Gary Coleman did not seem like a nice dude. Gary Coleman seemed like kind of... he'd be mean to you. Like he would snap at you. And not that I know, I just, I know. I mean, I had a couple run-ins with Gary, run-ins in so far as like he was being interviewed on shows that I was working on. But he seemed, he didn't seem like Arnold. I didn't get the whole warm, fuzzy, what you talking about, Bugs, kind of vibe from him, which, you want. Okay, let's get into what is trending today. Okay, so obviously, a lot of election things that we'll touch on. Herschel Walker is trending. Looks like that race is headed to a runoff in Georgia. Warnock, the preacher, the Reverend Warnock, he has like a 1% lead or something. I don't know, whatever. You got to hit 50% in Georgia to avoid a runoff, and they're both at like 49 and 48. So that's going to go somewhere. However, Herschel Walker, did you see his speech last night? Let me quote Herschel Walker last night on stage, not conceding, but, also preparing his audience at the assembled hotel ballroom, wherever the Walker celebration party was scheduled. Just letting them know that, there's not going to be a big announcement tonight. So he came out and Herschel Walker said, and I quote, this is a Herschel Walker quote, "When times be good, just wait, gonna be get better." Thank you, Herschel Walker. Once again, I will quote his speech to his audience. "When times be good, just wait, gonna be get better." Herschel Walker, ladies and gentlemen. Can't wait to hear him speaking on the floor of the United States Senate. 88% of evangelicals voted for Herschel Walker over the actual evangelical reverend. Jesus ain't a real thing with these people. It's not. It's not about Jesus. It's about stacking the Supreme Court. And, hey, do your faith thing, people. Fetterman, old Shrek, old Pennsylvania Shrek. Fetterman seems to have won. He beat Oz, Dr. Oz. Okay. All right, now that dude's going to be in... Is he going to wear a suit ever? Is he going to start wearing a shirt and tie maybe? Instead of looking like, he just came back from wrestling practice, which is how he looks all the time. Gen Z is trending. Gen Z is trending, and Gen Z is being, well, it depends. It depends on which side you're on. If you're a crazy ass person on the far right, then you are blaming Gen Z for what some people on the far right are calling a really dismal night, a really bad night. But maybe that is because they had their hopes up way too high. And then if you're a crazy person on you're going, yay, Gen Z like us, because Gen Z came out in force last night. Gen Z, well, first of all, the first Gen Z congressman got elected. But the young vote really came out, and the young vote is very pro-choice. And that was kind of, do you remember back when the Supreme Court's feelings about Roe versus Wade was released like 9 months ago, and everybody said, well, this was obviously released by a Democratic, spy or whatever, because they want to get that news out there so that they could gin up the base to, for the midterms. Well, that's exactly what they did. And Gen Z came out firing, man. Gen Z, much larger turnout than anticipated. And they're saying that that's the reason why some of the, there was a whole like wing of people that were running that were election deniers and pro MAGA and all that. Well, they say that Gen Z came out and basically wiped that out. That Gen Z was like, nope, sorry, that's not going to happen. According to the Edison Research National Election Pool, I don't know what that means, but it sounds important. The national youth vote choice for U.S. House of Representatives was 63% for Democrats, 35% for Republicans. So Gen Z came out 63-35 in favor of Democrats in this midterm election. Voters 18 to 29 are the only age group in which more than half of all the votes supported Democrats. So that's why the Democrats are happy today. The Democrats are like, oh, okay, all right, so we've got the next generation. We've got the next generation pretty strong, and they're voting now. So, there's a lot of, look, hey, man, I thought this was going to be, for the crazy people on the right, I thought this was going to be a celebratory day. I thought they were going to be, a lot of people did, but, we'll see. And they're saying that it's because of Gen Z. Also trending right along with Gen Z is my generation, the much maligned, the forgotten generation. Those of us who just sit on the sidelines and watch everybody screw everything up. Gen X is trending. Let's see here. Why is it trending? Oh, it's trending because of this post that was put out there. It says, all right, so here's the post. It says, fuck around with Gen X and find out. Goes on to say, I saw this on a millennials post. This is a millennial talking about why they don't fuck around with Gen X, which is kind of fun if you're Gen X. He says, I don't mess around with anyone over 42. They just built different. Their families had them formally trained in something by the time they were 2. They had keys to the house by age 5. They could cook full meals at 7 and were pretty much self-sufficient by 9. They left their house at dawn every summer morning and didn't come back till nightfall and survived all day on water from garden hoses. They might get a sandwich on the off chance somebody's parents had went shopping. They spent 3/4 of their lives by themselves, with a parent maybe checking in on them once or twice a month. Most of them have evaded at least one kidnapping attempt, and they know 15 different ways to remove bloodstains from clothing. They the real fuck around and find out generation. That's pretty funny. I like that. There you go. So that's why Gen Z and Gen X are trending today. I like the garden hose thing because I said that to my kid once. We were out doing something, and we were playing. We were at his grandma's and we were playing football, and he was like, "Hold on, I need some water." And he started to walk back to the house from the field that we were playing at, And I go, what are you doing there? And there was a garden hose right there, and it was running. People were gardening. And I said to my kid, he was probably like 11, my little Gen Z kid, dude, there's a garden hose right there. You don't have to walk home. He looked at me like, I was riding with the Mongol hordes. He looked at me like I was a barbarian. He looked at me like, what? You would you would take water that is coming out of a hose that's attached to some stranger's house? I'm like, boy, you soft. You soft. We used to run. As a matter of fact, if you were to clock the fastest time I've ever run in my life, it was probably to get to the garden hose first during double sessions of football practice when I was like 14. It's take a break. The hose is over there. And the entire team would just sprint to this mud puddle with this funky, rusty hose is just pouring out water throughout the entirety of practice. And we would all just get in that mud slop and just start sucking straight off that hose like it was the elixir of the gods. And my kid looked at me like I was out of my mind to ask him to put water in, and it came out of a hose. Hoses, man, hose water. It made us tougher. Or weaker. I don't know. It depends. You can probably take a 30,000 foot look at our generation and come up with a completely different, diagnosis, but whatever. It's fine. Prop 3 in Michigan has passed. Let's see. These are some of the fun ballot things that, fun. I don't know if it's fun. All right, so Michigan is a weird state. Michigan is like, it's traditionally a union state. It's traditionally blue, industrial Northwest. But, they still got a blue governor, but they got some crazy stuff going on in Michigan. There's rural parts of every state that has some crazy stuff going on. So you never know how Michigan is going to go. Well, Michigan has live election results. Proposal 3 approved. In Michigan, they have legalized in the state of Michigan abortion. So no matter what happens, you can't take it away. Abortion has been legalized in Michigan, which was a state that a lot of people were watching for this issue because Michigan is decidedly purple. It's maybe the governor seems to have won re-election there, Gretchen Whitmer, but it's still kind of a reddish blue state. So this was a very big one they wanted to see, and it passed big. It wasn't even close. It's like when people actually came out and started to vote about whether or not abortion was on a bunch of states' ballots, and it basically won everywhere. Amendment 2. Now we talked about Michigan, right? So this is Amendment 2 in Kentucky, right? This is also an abortion amendment, right? To see if you can keep Kentucky abortion legal. And Amendment 2 is what they called it. Now, this is worded a bit more, complicated. Kentucky voters reject amendment that would have eliminated abortion rights. All right, so there was an amendment up for vote. And that amendment in Kentucky would have eliminated abortion rights in the state. It would have made it the way Michigan had a thing saying, should we protect abortion rights? And everybody said yes. And so abortion rights are protected in Michigan. Abortion rights in Kentucky, the question was, should we get rid of abortion rights? And it was overwhelmingly no. Kentucky is going to have abortion. Kentucky, the people of Kentucky came out to vote. And they voted to save abortion in the state. Amendment 2, a measure to change Kentucky's constitution in regard to abortion, was rejected by voters on Tuesday. The amendment would have added language in the state's constitution, making it clear that neither abortion nor government funding for the procedure would be a right in the state of Kentucky. And the people said, no, that's not true. That is a right in the state of Kentucky. That's another interesting one. All right, what else do we have here? We got some legalization issues. A bunch of states had legalization of marijuana up on the ballot. Now, some of them passed and some of them didn't. It was a mixed night for one of them, though, however, was I think I would have. I would have. I don't know what state it is. I'll tell you in a second here. But one of the states was like, hey, here's the deal. We're going to legalize marijuana. But all of the people that have the licenses currently, when we made it legal for medical marijuana, they're the only people that are going to get new medical marijuana licenses. So we're keeping the money in the family. I would have voted against that too. That's some bullshit. Are you kidding me? So you're going to make it legal, but there's going to be no opportunity for the regular person. They're just only the rich guys who already own and already have been awarded in state lotteries, because that's how these things go, these state lottery licenses to grow medical marijuana. So they're the only people who you are going to allow to get this huge advantage. And how much money did they get? The fuck? That's crazy. Maryland and Missouri have both legalized recreational marijuana. However, Arkansas and the Dakotas said no. Now, the Dakotas, I don't know what the reason for the Dakotas is, but Arkansas had that bullshit law. Arkansas was like, well, all right, we're going to make it legal, but, all the big county officials and all their friends and their moneyed banker pals in Little Rock, they're going to be the only ones who are going to be able to get licenses. And voters said, no, fuck you. Are you fucking kidding me? According to an April 2021 Pew Research Center survey, 91% of U.S. adults favor some form of marijuana legalization. Before Election Day, 43% of United States adults lived in a jurisdiction that has legalized marijuana for adults over 21. Sales of adult use and medical marijuana products hit $25 billion in 2021. So in 2021, $25 billion was made in legal marijuana. I'm telling you, there's just too many of these states who got to be licking their chops at those tax dollars. They got to be going, what? How much is being made? You kidding me? Let's see here. One Wall Street estimate says that marijuana profits could reach $100 billion by 2030. And last month, President Joe Biden announced that he's taking steps to overhaul America's federal cannabis laws. I don't know what the deal is with the Dakotas. It doesn't matter. There's like 30 people living in the Dakotas. Who the fuck wants to go to the Dakotas anyway, right? So Dakotas are fine. They can do their thing. Arkansas said, the people of Arkansas said, yeah, no to the legalized marijuana thing, but it's because it was a bullshit bill. It was nonsense. They got to come back. They got to do it again. They got to open up the economy, the cannabis economy. You got to open up the cannabis economy to the people of Arkansas. You can't just keep it, the rich getting richer. You can't do that. So I'm glad it failed in Arkansas. But welcome to the party, Missouri. Deep red state, Missouri. I'll tell you, I grew up adjacent to Missouri. I can tell you, Missouri is one of the most hick states in the country. Missouri is, it's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. So is Arkansas, though. Missouri and Arkansas are like two of the most beautiful states. And it's just, the toothless cretins who reside there that kind of make it scary. But other than that, it would be those two places. Congratulations, Missouri, and congratulations, Maryland. You are normal. Okay, slavery. Slavery was also on the ballot in a number of states. I believe it's Tennessee who finally made slavery illegal. Tennessee had been on the fence about whether or not slavery was coming back, but Tennessee actually passed a law now that says people voted. People said, yeah, I think we should pretty much lock that one down and say that slavery ain't coming back to Tennessee. So they finally did that. Voters in 3 states approved ballot measures to amend their states' constitutions to prohibit slavery. Okay, this is where it gets complicated because I don't necessarily like the word slavery. And they add this, and voters in 3 states approved ballot measures to amend their states' constitutions to prohibit slavery and involuntary servitude as punishment for crime, while those in a 4th state rejected the measures approved Tuesday. Okay, anyway, here's the deal. So there's a bunch of states that, like, if you go to prison in those states, they just make you work. You don't get any money, and you work, you build things, and then the state sells those things, and they make the money, and it's a very complicated issue. But that's really what the slavery, they're calling that slavery, and I guess it is. But, I'm a law and order guy to the extent that if you violate the rules of our society, we need to take you out of society. We need to put you in a cement box, and you don't get to be a part of our society anymore because you have violated the rules that we've all agreed upon are important to existing in a civilized society. Slavery, I don't know. So you make what do you make? You make uniforms, you make license plates, you make whatever it is that you make. You're in prison. You got to do something. We're going to pay you now? What, we're going to pay you more than a kid working at Arby's? I don't think so. But whatever. It's complicated. I haven't really thought about it. I don't know if you can tell. I'm just kind of freeballing my thoughts on that one. And that's what we do here on the High Noon Show every Monday through Friday. What else do we have here? All right, that's enough of the election stuff. Who cares? We're done with the election. Thank God the elections are done. Meta is trending because Meta is Facebook's parent company. Meta is about to fire 100,000 people. At least that's what they're saying. It's not 100,000. Wait, that's not the number. What's the number? Meta's 10,000. They're about to fire 10,000 people, something like that. And things ain't going good for the over evaluated tech billionaires recently, the Musks and the Zuckerbergs. Yeah. I don't know how Tom from MySpace is faring. How is Tom from MySpace? Remember when Tom was the shit? Tom was all of our friend. Tom, when you joined MySpace, your very first friend was Tom. Tom was like all friendly. And Tom was the dude who started MySpace. Did Tom get out of MySpace with a little bit of something? Like, I hope so, right? Like, I don't care if Tom from MySpace shouldn't have, $10 billion, right? He shouldn't have $10 billion. But Tom from MySpace should have 50 million. Right? Wouldn't you think that's fair? I mean, we all liked MySpace. I mean, it was huge. It was big. Tom from MySpace. What's Tom from MySpace? Like, did he take like the initial money? Did he get out of MySpace or did he go down with the ship? I got to know about Tom from MySpace. Because bottom line, Zuckerberg's having a not so great couple of days. Elon's having a not so great couple of days. So now I'm interested in what Tom from MySpace is getting into. Tom Anderson. All right, look at him. Look at Tom Anderson's his name. Does he have a Wikipedia page? He does. What's his worth? What's his net worth? Hold on. Tom from MySpace. Let's see what his net worth, right? Net worth. All right, here we go. Tom Anderson. Tom Anderson is an American entrepreneur who has a net worth of $60 million. All right, Tom. Good for you. You got in, you got out. You didn't become one of the big crazy billionaires, but $60 million. You could certainly live generational wealth for you and your grandkids and your great grandkids. Good for you, Tom. Moving on. I hope you were entertained by that if you were filling up an empty cardboard box at Meta World headquarters because you've just been laid off. Jen Aniston is trending. Jennifer Aniston, still one of my all-time favorites. Still, just something about like 1996 Rachel Green from Friends that was just really good. Just all kinds of warm fuzzies. Anyway, Jen Aniston says that she has explored every option available to her in order to get pregnant. She says it was really hard. I guess she can't get pregnant. She's like, because she's my age. So she's like, well, actually, is she older or younger? I don't know. I think she might actually be older. Or no, she's exactly my age. Jennifer Aniston is opening up like never before about her secret struggles to have a child, while the world was speculating about whether she was pregnant. In a new cover story, the 53-year-old actress talks about the hard shit she went through in her 30s and 40s, revealing, "I was trying so hard to get pregnant. It was a challenging road for me, that baby-making road." She adds that while the world was speculating, she was trying every means possible to conceive a child. Yeah. Basically, she's talking about how I can't have babies. They used to call that being barren. Jen Aniston is barren. Can't say that anymore. But that's how they used to describe it. They used to, if you were a woman and you couldn't have a baby, it was like, oh, so you're barren. I don't know. You can't do that anymore. Also, mixed race children, you can't call them mulattoes. You can't, don't call them. Not that I would, but you can't. That's another thing that used to be common. That used to be normal, but apparently you can't do that anymore. They're just beautiful biracial babies. That's what they are. You don't need a special name for them. Jen Aniston. That's why Jen Aniston is trending. What else do we have here? The Crown is trending. Oh, The Crown. The Crown. Netflix, ladies and gentlemen, The Crown is back. I've been telling you people for months now about my great lament that there is just nothing that I get excited about to watch. And it really, good Lord, it came to a head with House of Dragon, Game of Thrones. You know, the Game of Thrones spinoff. I mean, I thought, on paper, I thought this is it. This is going to be the series that I'm going to be super excited about. Finally, something's coming back. I mean, Peaky Blinders came back for like 5 episodes and then they wrapped up the series. And I was like, that's exciting. And that's like the last good thing that there's been. House of Dragons disappointed me. I was like, can't get excited by that. So I've been rewatching stuff. I've fallen into this rut where I can't watch anything new. The Watcher was good. I watched The Watcher. And I guess I'm watching The Patient now too. And The Patient's all right. It hasn't really gripped me yet, but it's all right. Sort of interesting. But The Crown. When I woke up this morning and I saw my alerts, The Crown. And I saw that I have 10 episodes of season 5 of The Crown to now rip through. Oh my God. Look, if you folks like history, I'm telling you, if you like history, The Crown is the show for you. Here, let me give you an example. Here, watch this. You gonna make me sign in? Why are you making me sign in? All right, hold on. I'm pulling on my Netflix. I'm going to read you the episodes that I'm all excited about because The Crown is not, I was late to The Crown. I watched it like a year after everybody had already seen it. Okay, here we go. Let's get to the new episodes. And I watched it like a year late because I thought it was like stupid Downton Abbey, I'm the queen and this is what it's like being the queen. I thought it was going to be like, no interest at all. And then a friend of mine who I've got a lot of respect for, he was like, no, dude, you would really like the Queen or The Crown. So I started watching The Crown and man, I ripped through the first season and then every season that debuts has been very excited. Very excited. Look, here's what it is. It's history. It's just a history show. It's a show about history. It's a show about history as seen through the eyes of this woman who was the Queen of England for all of this shit. It's not about, the butler's talking to the press. It's not, there's some of that, but it's not like palace intrigue, there's some of that, but mostly it's like just, well, what was the Queen doing when the Falkland War broke out? It's like stuff like that. It's interesting shit. So here are some of the episodes from this season. Queen Victoria Syndrome is the first one. A much-needed update to the royal yacht draws scrutiny to the Queen's reign. See? She had to deal with nickel and diamond from the royal accountants. There's all kinds of little shit like that. The System, episode 2. Prince Philip offers his support to a grieving family member. Keen to snatch a scoop, a tabloid journalist approaches Diana about a tell-all book. See, we're getting into the whole Martin Bashir kind of thing. Remember the Martin Bashir interview with her? What else do we have here? No Woman's Land, episode 7 of this season. No Woman's Land. As BBC's Martin Bashir goes to great lengths to secure an interview with Diana, the lonely princess finds purpose and warmth in a London hospital. All right, so maybe none of these are great. Couple 31. The Princess of Wales contends with the repercussions of her statements that the Queen asked the Prime Minister for his help in a delicate family matter. Anyway, I'm very excited. The Crown. If you like The Crown, it's all about history. Trust me, it's about history. I don't like that stupid girly stuff. It's not a stupid girly show. It's not. It's a show about hardcore world history as seen through the eyes of the Queen of England over the period of 60 years. It's pretty 70 years, whatever it was. It's good stuff. There's a new list out today of America's fastest growing cities. We like to go through that, especially when it concerns us, and it concerns us here in North Texas. Okay, so this new list of America's fastest growing metropolitan areas. New York ain't one of them. Nope. New York is not one of the fastest growing metropolitan areas. Are you ready? Are you ready for the list? Here we go. The number one fastest growing metropolitan area in the United States of America, according to GDP in 2022, is San Francisco Bay Area. The San Francisco Bay Area, $1.4 trillion GDP. $1.4 trillion. Okay, so San Francisco Bay Area is number one. It is the fastest growing metro area in the United States. Now, I'm going to give you 2 through 10, okay? But number one is San Francisco. And here's all you need to know. There is a massive drop-off before number one and number two. San Francisco is not just the number one fastest growing. It is growing faster than the next. It is growing faster than the next 5 metro areas combined. So San Francisco is like huge. San Francisco Bay Area with a 1.4 trillion GDP, gross domestic product. Number 2 in the fastest growing cities in America is Austin, Texas, ladies and gentlemen. Austin, Texas. Austin, Texas is number 2 with 216 billion. So there you have the difference between number 1 and number 2. San Francisco is at 1.4 trillion. Austin is in second place at 216 billion. Then you've got Seattle. These are like tech centers. These are the tech centers that we're seeing. Seattle comes in at number 3. Raleigh-Durham comes in at number 4. Ladies and gentlemen, can I present to you Dallas, Texas, coming in at number 5? It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Denver comes in at number 6. Salt Lake City comes in at number 7. Charlotte, North Carolina comes in at number 8. New Orleans, Louisiana comes in at number 9, which is crazy to me because I am not a fan of New Orleans. Every time I go to New Orleans, I'm like, what's that smell? God, is it just going to be wet like this all the time? Why is the air wet? What is that? What are the size of these bugs? What is that racket? Why is all my food burnt? That's me in New Orleans. Here, have a warm beer in the middle of a humid street. Yeah, that is piss you're smelling. Welcome to New Orleans. I don't like New Orleans. And number 10 is Orlando. So there you go. There's the 10 fastest growing cities. Number 10 is Orlando. Number 9 is New Orleans. Number 8 is Charlotte. Number 7 is Salt Lake City. Number 6 is Denver. Number 5 is Dallas. Hey. Number 4 is Raleigh-Durham. Number 3 is Seattle. Number 2 is Austin. And number 1, just kicking everybody's ass, San Francisco. San Francisco going to be the biggest city in America if this keeps up. It's just going to keep growing. What else do we have? We're running out of stuff. You guys, we're running out of stuff. We are running out of stuff. See, this is what happens when everything is election or politics related. Like, I knew today was going to be a shorter show because I'm just not going to talk politics. I'm not. There's a whole bunch of, I'll go over the points, a couple of things, but I ain't getting into your fucking bullshit. You go talk politics with Mark Levin or, Rachel Maddow or whoever the hell it is that you get your politics from. You ain't getting it here. Powerball is trending. Here's what you get with me. You get dreams. Powerball. You guys, a $2 billion Powerball ticket was won by a single dude or dudette. I don't know. Oh, here. What we got here? I like to do this. I just like to look, because I buy my lottery tickets, and I buy them whenever it's a big one. I don't buy weekly, but if it's a big one, I can get suckered into it, and I'll buy a Powerball or a Texas lottery or whatever. But I always buy from the same place, and the reason I do that is because I feel like, and I only buy one ticket. I got a couple of rules here, okay? This is lightning striking, okay? I'm not going to go out and I'm not going to spend $50 on tickets thinking that I can somehow cheat the process. It's like 1 in like 50 billion, right? The odds I'm going to win. So just one ticket. If you're going to win, if the things are going to align, if you're going to be lucky, it's just going to be with one ticket. It's going to be with one ticket. And I always go to the same place. So it's one ticket at the same place. So what I like to do is I like to look at here. Let's take a look. I like to look at the place that sold the ticket. So we can do that here. Here we go. So this is the place. Because I like to think, I'm like, okay, what kind of neighborhood, what kind of person probably bought that? So here we go. Look at this. All right. So this is we're looking live. I know I'm weird. But I also love Google Maps. All right. So we're looking live at the intersection where the $2 billion lottery ticket was sold. I don't see anything. What's on this corner? Got to be a gas station. There it is, the Chevron. Ta-da! All right. So Altadena Drive here in Altadena, California, somebody walked into this Chevron station, said, let me get one of them Powerball tickets. And it was a single winner worth $2 billion. That's right, $2 billion. I wouldn't even go into this. I wouldn't even go into this service station. This doesn't look like a fully functioning mini mart to me. This looks like a place where there's like, cars up on jacks and, it's dirty and they've got like a really shitty selection of sodas because it's just like one little soda cooler and they got nothing. Probably they got a sign. They got like a handwritten sign that says, we charge $1 for ice, stuff like that. This is not, I wouldn't buy my ticket here. I would not buy a ticket here. I would go to a 7-Eleven. I would go to a place. What's this? What's across the street here? Look at the beautiful ones. The fuck is that? The Bunny Museum. What? What is the Bunny Museum? That's the Bunny Museum. All right, so $2 billion lottery ticket was sold right across the street from the Bunny Museum. Imagine being a weirdo going to the Bunny Museum and then you decide to walk across the street and you get yourself a Powerball ticket and now you're a weirdo who likes the Bunny Museum and you're worth $2 billion. No, thank you. I don't want to be a part of that kind of nonsense. All right. What else do we have? Where is the story? Let's find this Powerball story, see what happened. A single winning ticket for the $2.4 billion Powerball jackpot was sold in California. A lone winning ticket for the $2.04 billion Powerball lottery jackpot was sold in Altadena, California. Lottery officials said Tuesday, making the lucky ticket holder the winner of the largest lottery prize ever. A single dude. You got to just be happy for him. You got to just be like, all right, my man, it wasn't me, but it was you. And, let's hope he's deserving. Or there is no God. It's he could be a child molester, right? He could be a dude that has to go around and introduce himself to his neighbors. And, now he's worth $2 billion so he can live on a sex island somewhere. Whatever. Or it could be a good dude. It could be a good dude like you or me or just regular working class, everyday dude who just got lucky, So whatever. It's not me, but it's somebody else. God bless. Go forth. I hope to run into you sometime. And then, you'll be like, hey, you're the guy in that stream who said good things about me. Here, have $10 million. And I'll be like, well, thank you. Okay, that's probably less likely to happen than me actually winning the lotto at some point, but whatever. A boy can dream. The winning numbers, which were announced Tuesday morning after Monday night's drawing was delayed, were 10, 33, 41, 47, 56, and the Powerball was 10. I can tell you just from memory, I don't think I have one of those numbers. I didn't like my numbers. My numbers were like 22, 44, 60. It was weird. It were weird numbers. And I'm like, there's no way that number combination is ever going to win. I was pretty much let down the minute that machine spit out my card. I looked at it and I was like, these numbers suck. You gave me shitty numbers. And I was right. Let's see. While it's likely that you weren't the jackpot winner. Yeah, it really was. Lotteries are urging players to check their tickets on the chance that you won one of the other, albeit smaller prizes. By the way, that gas station we just looked at? $2 billion lottery ticket they sold. $2 billion lottery ticket they sold. That gas station gets $1 million. What? Okay, look, I'm happy. All right, I'll take the million. Don't get me wrong. I run Cooter's gas station here. I'm probably not super wealthy. I could use $1 million. I'm going to get out of this business. We're going to turn this into a Jamba Juice or something. I'm sure I'll sell it to some commercial real estate lady and they'll flip it into something. So he'll take his $1 million, but $1 million, you sold a $2 billion ticket. $1 million is all you get. Like I thought there was a percentage. Like I thought the place that sold the ticket got like a little bit of, some, like a little, 5% or something like that, which 5% of $2 billion is quick chat room. What's 5% of $2 billion? They're round numbers. I just don't want to think about it. I have a head cold. Oh, people, well, okay, so we'll wait. JBM says that gas station is owned by a father of some NFL player. Okay, so then he doesn't even need the $1 million because if his son's an NFL player, dad's already taken care of. Hopefully. Hopefully, we'll see. All right. And what else do we have here? Oh, John Hinckley, our boy. We'll end with this. And yeah, we're ending. Don't worry, I'll jump back in. I'll see if there's anything new trending. But I'm telling you, I'm not doing politics. And half the shit that's trending and people are buzzing about today is just political nonsense. I will have none of it. Not on my high noon show. No divisive bullshit. And now I'm going to tell you about John Hinckley. John Hinckley, the man who tried to kill Reagan. John Hinckley is trending. John Hinckley is starting his own. Well, here, we'll pull it up. We'll show it to you. We'll show you what John Hinckley has tweeted. Yes, I follow John Hinckley, but I separate the art from the artist. I happen to believe that John Hinckley is one of America's greatest living singer-songwriters. He's just undiscovered. You people don't know. You people have no clue. Actually, you people do, because we play John Hinckley's music as our closing theme every day. So you guys know the beautiful angel-like voice of America's best-known failed presidential assassin. All right, so here's what John Hinckley is saying. He says, I'm starting the National Redemption Party. We are for peace, love, racial equality, LGBTQ rights, abortion rights, the Green New Deal. We oppose the mob that controls the music industry. That's where you're going. That's all right. To join the NRP, send address to John Hinckley 413 at yahoo.com to receive a membership card. Look at John Hinckley. Look at the picture of him. Old boy's feeling himself. He is. He's having a bit of a moment. He's like, I'm out of the cuckoo bin. I'm writing music. I'm starting a political party. I look like a stone dad at a little kid's soccer game. Look at him. Look at him. He's just. God love you, Hinkles. Godspeed. All right, let's see what's trending. Let's jump into Twitter, because, Twitter, I'm sure, isn't going to be just a bouillabaisse of hatred and bitterness right now. Let's see. See what's trending. Love is Blind is trending. Don't know what that's about. Gen Z is trending. We already talked about that. Gen Z turned out big. Jackie Vaughn, don't know what that is. DeSantis is trending. Ain't going near that. DeSantis won. I'll tell you something I am kind of interested in the whole DeSantis thing. I am intrigued by what's brewing between DeSantis and Trump. I mean, DeSantis has a lane, baby. DeSantis has a lane. He's got the I'm not Trump lane. He's got all the things about, Trump that like people liked about Trump, but then he's also got but I'm not Trump, because Trump has become so polarizing, and it's obvious now after last night. I'm sorry to say it's obvious, but his backed candidates don't win. The Trump endorsement is now, he's not a kingmaker, and other young up and coming conservative right-wing politicians have, especially since last night, sort of looked at the lay of the land and gone, okay, there's lanes now for people who can distance themselves from Trump. You don't just have to be beholden to him, because, most of America is looking around at those crazy Trump people and going, fuck those people. Those people are crazy. That's the super far right. It's the same people we're looking at on the super far left who are talking about defunding the police. Fuck those people too. So as I've been saying on this show, you got the crazy right and the crazy left. Most of us are somewhere here in the middle. If we just in the middle can kind of come together, and we saw a little bit of that last night, and that ideology, that thought that maybe, if you just eliminate the loudest and craziest voices from both sides of the room, maybe we could actually get some things accomplished. And DeSantis is one of these guys who is trying to thread that needle in there. He's, he ain't progressive in any way, shape, or form, but he's also not as, there's just not as much like he doesn't have a bunch of indictments hanging over him. So what is going to be interesting about DeSantis moving forward is how the next couple of weeks, even today, right? Like, so he and Trump aren't getting along. They're gonna carve each other up. Let's see what comes of that. That's interesting. That's something to watch. What else do we have? Fetterman's trending. Old Steele County Shrek. Let's see here. Ron Johnson. Looks like Ron Johnson won in Wisconsin. But that's another thing that happened very, very weirdly. People were splitting their ballots in state elections. Like they were reelecting Democratic governors and then reelecting Republican senators. And the numbers were tracking. So it was like people were voting for, and I think that is great. I think the more we can get away from, I vote the way my party tells me about, both parties suck. All the parties suck. Just vote for just use your head. Don't stop listening to people. Stop letting other people tell you, because that's really what being a part of a party, a political party is. It's eliminating the thought process from your evaluation of candidates. That's all it is. You join the party, you vote for the person in your party. Doesn't matter what you know about them. You don't have to know anything about them because you trust that as a party member, there are other people who have vetted the candidate and you're just going to go along. You are thoughtless and you're being dumb. If you are a party partisan, you suck. So we actually saw that. We saw a lot of people voting across party lines, some people voting for Republicans here, some people voting for Democrats here. It was interesting. Boebert, did Boebert lose? Wasn't that something I saw? Like that crazy. Damn, there has never been a congresswoman who looked better in a pair of jeans. I'll give Lorraine, I don't know. I always get her confused with the woman who cut off John Wayne Bobbitt's dick. What was her name? Lorena Bobbitt. She's Lorraine Boebert. Whatever. She's not the lady who cut off the dick, but she does look good in blue jeans. And it looks like maybe she's not, I don't know. Let's click on her. Let's see if she won or not. She's another one of these polarizing figures. Let's see here. I don't know. I know that she's having a difficult time. I don't know if she's won. I don't care. I don't really care if she's insignificant. She holds no major platform or positions on any of the big councils. She's a junior senator or junior congresswoman. She has very little power. Nobody takes her seriously. I don't care if she wins or loses. Doesn't matter. She's not important. She's important because people are like outraged by the stupid shit she says. But really, she's got the power. Marjorie Taylor Greene has no power. She sits on no committees. She's got nothing. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, same thing. Oh, she's super important. No, she's not. The dude that she beat for her seat was in office for 30 years. Name him. You can't name him because it's not an important seat in Congress. You made her evil and you've elevated her. You've put her way up here and everybody knows who she is, but she doesn't actually have any power. Neither does Boebert or Marjorie Taylor Greene or Gates or any of these weirdos. There are some that have a little bit of power. Your Gomerts and shit like that. They got some power because they've been around a while and they've weaseled their way into some committees. But what are you gonna do? All right, Powerball. We covered that. Let's see here. Let's go quickly. See what's happening with the Google Trends. I feel like it's way too early. Day after an election. It's way too early to just end the show after an hour. I feel like I got to do more. What are the headlines here? Republicans in shock. And by the way, this is from Drudge Report. This is from a right-leaning news aggregator. So the headlines are Republicans in shock, House control this close. And they didn't even separate this and close. This close is one word. House control this close. Dems holding Senate. Toxic Trump in MAGA meltdown. Is he going nuts? Yeah, that's my favorite. My favorite Trump is Nuts Trump. When he's just like, he's like ranting. Dude is hysterical. Dude is easily the funniest president we've ever had. That's undeniable. He's also the scariest. Maybe. I don't know. There are some scary dudes. Reagan said some pretty scary things. Reagan saber rattled pretty hard at a time when, so I don't know about scariest, but he's definitely the funniest. Let's see here. Biden's pretty funny too. Biden's pretty funny. I don't know. Maybe not have a funny. Maybe not a funny president. Maybe that's it. The next guy we elect should not be funny. The next guy should just be kind of serious. I don't. Beto lost. Beto. That dude is the worst candidate. I've been saying this for months. Beto can't win nothing in Texas. So now they're saying that Beto might run for president. Well, you know what? Oddly enough, he could probably fare better in a nationwide election than he would in Texas. It's just, I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. People in Connecticut will eat that dude up. People in New York will eat Beto up. People in California will eat Beto up. But I mean, really? I mean, he has, at least to my eye, been one of the most ham-fisted and clumsy campaigners. I'm going to go to every county and knock on every door. Okay, that's great, but there are probably more efficient ways to do that than the way you're doing. I know it sounds good when you say it. Sounds like you're one of these folksy front porch talking politicians who's going to, sit on, drink a little bit of sweet tea with you and talk about the world's problem. That doesn't really work. That's not efficient. You can't do that. And also, the thing that really bugged me, man, he went campaigning in rural Texas with trans people, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with but if you're trying to win over people who can see the issues concerning Abbott and this sort of machine that has been running Texas, if there are people who are likely to drift from that, maybe don't confront them on their front porch with, the whole trans issue. We know where you stand on the trans issue, Beto. That's great. You know what? All for it, right? So that's fine. People are people, so why should it be, right? Everybody needs to get along. That's great. But you don't need to shove it down fence voters' throats. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to remind the people who you needed to vote for you that you are on this side of this very far left issue, which, I don't even know if it's a very far left issue. It was such a bad move. I'm like, why is he doing this? Why is he knocking on ranchers' doors with trans people on their porches? This is just going to piss people off. It's just, and I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying it's real. I'm saying that there are a lot of closed-minded people out there that don't want a trans teen on their porch with Beto O'Rourke. And it's just not, you could have just knocked on the door and been like, Beto, the guy. But no, he didn't. He really loves himself. And he lost. No surprise there. No, not even remotely shocked. Warren Beatty. This is interesting. Do you see this Warren Beatty thing? Warren Beatty is being sued because allegedly he had sex with a minor in 1973. Back in 1973, Warren Beatty was having sex with just about anything that he wanted. And let's get into this story. Let's see, because I don't know anything about it. Oh, my God, she was 14. Oh, my God. Warren Beatty can have anything. And Warren Beatty in 1973 could probably have any woman that he wanted. And he decided he wanted a 14-year-old, according to this lawsuit. A woman has filed a lawsuit against Warren Beatty, alleging that the actor coerced her into having sex with him in 1973 when she was 14 years old. Christina Charlotte Hirsch filed the lawsuit in Los Angeles County Court on Monday. The suit does not cite Beatty by name, but identifies the defendant as having been nominated for an Academy Award for his role as Clyde in Bonnie and Clyde. Yeah, that would narrow it down. I'm not going to tell you who he is, but he was nominated for an Academy Award for playing Clyde in the film Bonnie and Clyde. But I'm not going to tell you who it is. And yes, it's Warren Beatty. You are correct. That would be a good guess. Hirsch now lives in Louisiana. She alleges that Beatty met her on a movie set where he paid undue attention to her, commented on her looks, and gave her his phone number. She alleges that Beatty called her numerous times in 1973, invited her to the hotel where he was living, and brought her on car rides. Look at that, 1973. That was something you could do. You want to go on a car ride? That was like, there was nothing to do in 1973. Hey, big movie star, you're a 14-year-old girl. Want to go on a car ride? Suit states that Hirsch was initially thrilled by the attention and believes she was in a romantic relationship with him. Hirsch is seeking compensation for psychological, mental, and emotional distress. The suit alleges that she has had difficulty interacting with people in positions of authority as a result of the sexual abuse, and that she has suffered issues with trust and control. 1973. This happened back in 1973, and okay. Hirsch is represented by Michael Reck and Michael Finnegan of the law firm Jeff Anderson and Associates. The firm has handled numerous child sex abuse cases, including ones involving the Catholic Church and the Boy Scouts of America. All right, there you have it. Warren Beatty. Tell you, back there in the free love 1970, there weren't many rules. And we're revisiting that attitude today. And we're going back and we're finding out that, hey, maybe there should have been some rules. Maybe Jack Nicholson and what's that guy's name? Roman Polanski having a hot tub party with a bunch of 12-year-olds. Maybe there's a rule that we should put in place there. Maybe that shouldn't have happened, but it did. I have no doubt that in 1973. All right, let me rephrase this. If you were to say to me, hey, Pugs, do you believe that Warren Beatty probably had sex with this 14-year-old girl in 1973? If you asked it to me that way, I'd go, yeah, I do, because people were freaking nuts back then. They were, yes, absolutely. All of that pedophilia shit. And I don't know if it means that you're a pedophile or if it just means that when you were presented with an opportunity to be a pedophile in the moment, you jumped at it. I don't know if that's the exact same psychological diagnosis as being, like an incorrigible pedophile. And those people, I think we know our problems. And what the other dude, the other scenario is a problem too. I'm not trying to, but you know what I'm saying? Like, well, whatever. I'm on acid and it's 1973 and she's 14, but she looks 18. And I am not justifying. I'm saying it's gross. I'm saying it's bad. I'm just saying I'm not surprised that a lot of this stuff is now coming back to bite these people in the ass. They're like 80 years old, they've lived the life. Warren Beatty. He's like in his 80s. Yeah. Like the last couple of years of your life are going to be really difficult because of that time you tried to have sex with a 14-year-old in 1973. So be it. So be it. It's just how the world is. Sorry, Warren Beatty. We'll see, though. I mean, whatever. But again, are you asking me, Pugs, do you believe that's true? I mean, yeah, probably. It's total. But Pugs, isn't it sketchy that she waited all this time? No, not really, because up until recently, that was the kind of thing that you just be like, yeah, that happens. Nobody did anything about it. It's happened for hundreds of years, and that's just the way it is. So no, it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't make it any less likely to have happened because now in this era where people are coming forward with these stories, it's more normalized and it's more acceptable. It doesn't make it any less likely. Oh, but it was so long ago, it couldn't have happened. What kind of stupid use of logic is that? Because it was so long ago, it couldn't have happened? No, it's just times are different, and she probably could have talked about it in 1987 and nobody would have cared. But she's talking about it in 2022, and people are like, oh, interesting. Times change. If you do really bad shit, just be aware that, like a sword of Damocles, it's just going to hang over you forever because you're never out of the clear. Come back and get you. That's it. All right, we got nothing else. That's it. I don't want to go into any more politics. The Warren Beatty thing was a nice distraction. We're good with that. All right, come back tonight, 9 o'clock. That's the second stream that we do here each and every day. We do a 9 o'clock stream. We call it Pillow Talk with Pugs and Parker. It's myself and James Parker, and we talk about whatever. Parker, I think, wants to do trivia tonight. He has some idea for trivia. I don't know if we're going to do trivia tonight. I'm down. You know me. I'm always down for it, but we'll see. If not, it'll just be a Pugs and Parker show. Sleeping through the lonely nights. I got nothing else. How about you guys? Jeff Glenn says, now that Boebert is out of a job, she'll probably need a place to stay. Yeah, not here. She's an attractive woman. But, oh my God, is she irritating? No, thank you. No, thank you. That she looks like she's wearing a big nose and glasses, you know. It's just like Jesus Bible guns. Ugh, you're gross. You're a crazy lady. And she can go back to fancy high-end escorting like she used to do. Yeah, we've seen those pictures. You people don't want to believe it, but yeah, she was. Do you know the Bobert Ted Cruz conspiracy? It's like one of my favorite. I'm not big on conspiracy theories, but there's an elaborate story about how Lorena Bobert came to be Lorena Bobert, and Ted Cruz played a role in it. Google it. Waka chicka, waka chicka, waka chicka. I'm just saying she was for hire. It's a romantic story for the ages. She was a young gal on the go, selling herself on the internet, and a powerful young attorney or a young senator from the great state of Texas may or may not have noticed her ad, got together with her at a fancy party. It's a great conspiracy theory. It's a great one. And I totally choose to believe it. If you people can believe JFK Jr. is still alive, then I can believe the Ted Cruz and Bobert, John Wayne Bobbitt chick story. I don't know. I am on a never end. My story is at least fun. The JFK Jr. story is just stupid. You're just believing something stupid. My story's fun. See you tonight at 9 o'clock for Pugs and Parker proudly present Pillow Talk on the Radio Misfits podcast platform.